so I can see him walking in the chamber. Now, honorable senators, after we have interacted with the CS in charge of water, we will proceed to question number 24, which is a question by Senator Professor Tom Ojenga, directed to the CS in charge of defense. After that, we are supposed to proceed to interact with the CS in charge of cooperatives and micro, small, and medium enterprises. However, we received a communication yesterday afternoon from the CS in charge of cooperatives that he is still gathering information for purposes of responding to those two questions. One by the Senator for Migori, again, question number 7, and the other one by Senator Veronica Maina, question number 42. Now, with that letter with the letter that we received from the CS in charge of cooperatives, indicating that he is unavailable today due to the fact that they're yet to gather all the information necessary for purposes of responding to these two questions, we will now proceed with these two questions. So may the two senators stand guided. That is Senator Adi for purposes of question number 7 and Senator Veronica for purposes of question number 42. And therefore this morning we will proceed to hear the responses to question number questions number 8, number 9, and number 24. The first two are directed to the CS in charge of water, and the 024 directed to the Minister in charge of defense. Clerk, do you have the CS water in the House? Thank you. Now, Honorable CS, welcome back. You were here last week. However, your responses were deemed not satisfactory, and therefore we expect you to directly respond to the questions as asked by the honorable senators. We'll therefore proceed with question number 008 by the honorable senator for Migori. Honorable Senator, you may proceed to ask the question.
Thank you once again, Mr. Speaker. And I'll go straight to the question. That is question number 8. And it is to the Cabinet Secretary of Water, Sanitation, and Irrigation. And in this question, Mr. Speaker, I thought that could the Cabinet Secretary provide a list of landowners who granted way leave for the Lower Kuja Irrigation Development Project in Nyatike Sub-County, Migori County, and indicate the respective amounts due to each as compensation. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I thought that the Cabinet Secretary explains why has the government not paid out compensation to them years after the project commenced, and could the Cabinet Secretary indicate the timelines for the same? And lastly, Mr. Speaker, I thought that the Cabinet Secretary also explains the inordinate delay in the completion of the project. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond specifically to those questions, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the question by Honorable Eddie Okech, Senator Migori County. Question 1 was a list of landowners who granted well leave to Luakuja Irrigation Development Project in Nyatike Sub-County, and to indicate the respective amounts due to each as compensation. Honorable Speaker, in 2009, the National Irrigation Board, now the National Irrigation Authority, commenced the process of implementing the Luakuja Irrigation Project, starting with the feasibility studies, detailed design, and a total number of 19,292 acres were identified for irrigation. This was done by 3 agencies, that is GIB Africa, GIDO Consultants, and finally the Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning, that identified and valued parcels of land required for construction of the irrigation infrastructure, and a total number of 2,790 persons affected were identified, with a total valuation of 206 million and 14,719 and 80 cents. Honorable Speaker, to date, the National Irrigation Authority has compensated 1,273 PAPs and paid a total of 77,313,863, with a balance of 128,700,008.56 shillings for land belonging to 1,517 persons affected. The list is attached. It's a comprehensive list that has been submitted in response to the question by the Honorable Eddie. Honorable Speaker, already 9,292 acres have been put under irrigation for the already acquired well leave. On part number 2 of the question is why the government had not paid out compensation to PAPs years after project commencement and timelines for completion of the project. In response, Honorable Speaker, the delay in land compensation has been occasioned majorly by lack of budget, and this has resulted to several litigation cases in court by the aggrieved persons affected, which has further delayed the process. Honorable Speaker, in order to complete the land compensation process, the management of National Irrigation Authority has engaged National Land Commission for guidance on how to proceed with the exercise, and this resulted in NLC visiting the irrigation scheme and a subsequent engagements with the persons affected between 18th to 22nd November 2024. On 5th February 2025, the Commission gave guidance on the process for finalization of compensation for the project, and in its communication, the Commission gave the following guideline: that 1, immediate payment of the available compensation fund amounting to 68 million, that well leave land acquisition for all title holders and PAPs who formally declined offers issued by the authority be addressed by the Commission, that the authority established a grievance dissolution mechanism involving key stakeholders, that is GAO, National Irrigation Authority, National Land Commission, scheme leadership and persons affected, and the authority in liaison with the Commission to plan for final survey and vesting all the titles acquired in order to secure its interest. On 11th February, the authority formed a team to spearhead the compensation payment, and the committee has come up with the following payment program for the 68 million. The program, Honorable Speaker, is to identify, to verify PAPs, that is by mid-March, make first payment, because PAPs are allowed to be heard, especially on matters land, in case of any grievances. And then by 15th June, the last part of payment will be made, and the total will be 68 million. On question number 3, part 3 of the question, Honorable Speaker, I'm required to explain the delay in completion of the project. And the delay in completion of the project, Honorable Speaker, is due to budgetary challenges. And there has been low budgetary allocation for land compensation and the irrigation infrastructure development, leading to slow progress in implementation. The Ministry has continued to engage other development partners to source for other sources of funding to support in infrastructure development, and currently engagement with Dutch partners is ongoing, although they have been non-committal. The second reason for delay in completion of the project, Honorable Speaker, is the land valuation disputes. Determining the value of land and property affected by the project has proven to be a complex process. Disagreements between the government, landowners, and landowners over valuation of land and other infrastructure resulted in significant delays. There are approximately 50 number of disputes currently being addressed by the Grievance Redress Committee. And the last challenge, Honorable Speaker, is the legal challenges. Landowners filed around 25 number legal suits against the government concerning compensation cases, land acquisition, and other related matters. And these have had a substantial delay in the compensation process, as this has led to extended periods to resolving court. Honorable Speaker, with the current strong commitment by the Ministry to compensate all landowners, I'm appealing to this House, to the Senator, I'm appealing to the Honorable Senator to support the out-of-court settlement approach that the Ministry has proposed for the landowners. In addition, the total budget required for the remaining around 10,000 acres is projected to be 2.72 billion. These will be done in phases depending on fiscal space, starting from next financial year 2025-2026. In light of this, I am humbly seeking the support of the Honorable House for the allocation of the necessary budget to ensure the successful and timely completion of this crucial project. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I submit. Thank you.
Honorable Eddie, that's a fairly comprehensive response to your question. Do you have any supplementary questions?
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker. First of all, I must be grateful that for the first time, Mr. Speaker, I have added my hand into the list. And it's a very comprehensive list that I think that was received today from the stamp that I'm seeing here in the Senate General's office. And Mr. Speaker, because this is an original copy, and with the order of this House, I wanted to request that, Mr. Speaker, perhaps if you could allow the journals to make a copy for me for the list, so that I can be able to actually go and examine it properly, from where I can perhaps further engage the Ministry. Because I think that's when it will be fair. Because there are a number of issues that are coming from what the CS has shared, including issues of litigation. And I believe in this list I will be able to get that detail. So, Mr. Speaker, I won't have further questions for now up until examining the list, so that I can be able to comprehensively engage the Ministry. But just perhaps a comment from the Minister when he said that he would want to plead with the Senator of Migori to perhaps help engage with those who are in court over these way leaves for the settlement out of court. I would want to hear perhaps his comment on how is that structured, Would he be thinking about that after compensation or before compensation, or is there a structure that he wanted us to be able to work on together to be able to talk to the individuals who are affected that have got problems in court? But otherwise, I'm grateful for the list. It's a very comprehensive list, and I will get back to the ministry through the House appropriately.
I think maybe as a way forward, Honourable Senator, I will ask the clerk to make available a copy to you, and thereafter you can engage the CS on all matters, including how best you can help in the out-of-court settlement. We will now move to Senator Kio.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, mine is just a clarification that I want to get from the CS. He has mentioned that one of the reasons for the delay in completion of the project is the whole issue of low budgetary allocation for purposes of land compensation. The Speaker, I'll ask the CS whether he is aware of the provisions of Article 40 of the Constitution on what government needs to do when it acquires land from individual persons for purposes of public utility, that the persons who have surrendered their land for purposes of public utility must be compensated promptly and in full. Mr. Speaker, he is the owner of the budget. He's the one who presents the budget. He's the one who gets allocations. At what point will he then make sure that the persons that have given out their land for purpose of this project get their due compensation? It is a running issue, Mr. Speaker, in almost all the government projects. We must begin to bring to an end to this. And I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mandago, Honourable CS, note down the questions. You respond them at a go.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable CS, I've just directed that you note down the questions as are they being asked, as they are being asked.
Apologies. Thank you.
And thereafter you will respond to them at a go. Proceed, Honourable Senator.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I have one supplementary question, but first let me thank and congratulate the Minister for what, Honourable Speaker, for the good work he has done. I think providing a list of those to be compensated is a very rare phenomenon in this House when you ask cabinet secretaries to provide documents. So I think this is a good start. But Honourable Speaker, my supplementary question to the CS is related to that as an irrigation project. What happened with Karona Meibeki irrigation project in Moiben sub-county, Uasin Gishu County?
Now, Honourable Senator, that is not a supplementary question. That's relate to a different subject matter, and if the CS is in a position to respond, well and good. If not, let us not push him to do so. Senator Ledama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just needed a clarification from the Cabinet Secretary on the process of the land acquisition. I heard the Cabinet Secretary stating that they're having a dispute with the identified landowners. Could you walk us through the process of acquisition, compulsory acquisition, because it appears that all the list, based on your response, it appears that the list of the people who the land was acquired to them, the government did not submit to them an expression of interest to acquire the land, as well as the valuation of that land. Because the law spells out the process, which is identification, valuation, expression of interest, and then once the land has been, earmarked for compulsory acquisition, then there's a time period where the owner of the land can be compensated. So it appears that with that dispute, although the law allows for that process of dispute negotiation, it appears there's somewhere where you miss. That's why all the 2,700, is it 2,700 list of people? You have not been able to settle that. So could you walk us through? Is it that you did not express an interest to all of them, or you just assume that all of them would be happy with you acquiring the land? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Omtata.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My supplementary question is based on the list that has been provided. Does the ministry have an estimated cost of what is outstanding in the overdue compensation for the affected individuals, and whether there is a budget allocation for the same? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Seki.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also wanted to know from the Cabinet Secretary, there was an allocation on the last financial year on the issue of irrigation at Magadi, Gurman area, and I wanted to know the status.
Honorable Senator, that does not qualify to be a supplementary question. It's a different question altogether. It does not flow from the primary question.
Honorable Speaker, maybe the CS might be able to answer this question.
No, whether he's in a position or not, it's not a supplementary question. Okay. A supplementary question must flow from the primary question. Senator Mungatana.
So, Speaker, thank you for giving me the floor. I just wanted the Cabinet Secretary to clarify one issue flowing from his statement and answer to this question. Does the government have a different policy approach towards compensation for Tana River County as opposed to other counties? And I'm speaking specifically, Minister, to the Tana and Athi River Development Irrigation Project, where the government came and took even ancestral lands, and to date, the people have never been compensated. On this other part, we are hearing there's compensation. On this other part, we are hearing there's no compensation. Even when the head of state himself came and said it must be done, to date, the people have not been compensated. So I wanted to know, or even subdivision of that land, so that the land that doesn't belong to the people can do the irrigation, and the land that belongs to the people can be given to them. So clarify to us, does the government in which you are serving have a different policy for our area as opposed to other parts of the country, or is it the normal suppressing of areas that are far from the cities that has been the colonial policy since independence? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Onyonka.
Thank you, sir. I'm happy to have this opportunity to ask this question. On several occasions, Mr. Speaker, in this House, we have actually raised issues about people who have never been compensated for their land, which was utilized by either Kera, Kenha, or including SGR. And some of these people, Speaker, have never been compensated for the last 10 years. In fact, some of the parents have died. Like I presented a case of a family of Amze who died, and he has left 9 family members who are completely distraught. Can we be informed whether there is a likelihood that this matter can actually be sorted out once and for all? Because these are some of the issues which we keep on postponing and postponing, and it's creating a lot of distraught amongst various people, stakeholders, and communities in the Republic. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And thank you, Honorable Members, for follow-up questions. On questions that are not part of this, the question that we had prepared on, Honorable Speaker would request to be given more time so that I give a comprehensive list and comprehensive, well-thought answers to the Honorable Members and the country at large. There was a question, however, there was a question on when we would need the indulgence of the Honorable Member for Migori. The indulgence is, we need his indulgence, especially on settling these issues, court cases out of court, at all times, especially after payment. Because upon verification, land disputes always arise, and the grievance redress mechanism that we have put in place cannot work in isolation without the indulgence of the Honorable, the leadership of the area. And the Senator is a key leader in the county, and therefore we would seek his indulgence in the process. There was a question by Honorable Landema on the process of land acquisition. Honorable Speaker, the process of land acquisition starts by the preparation of a RAP, that is the Resettlement Action Plan. And once the ministry prepares that, we forward the RAP report to the National Land Commission that further takes that forward by identifying the pieces of land, doing valuation, and then they give time to do to address the grievances, and then there is an award, and then even payment is made by the National Land Commission. I think that is the standard practice in the country right now, more so in the ministry. That is the way we do it. Because after the change, the inauguration of the new constitution, the ministry stopped doing the process itself. It became the mandate of the National Land Commission, and we always engage them in case of land disputes. There was a cost on what is the outstanding amount to be paid to the PAPs in Lower Kuja irrigation scheme. The outstanding balance is 128 million Kenya shillings. And we have clearly highlighted the process on how we plan to acquire that. There was a question by Honorable Mugatana on the Tana and the Other Development Agency, where there are irrigation schemes being carried out by TARDA. TARDA, Honorable Speaker, to the Honorable Senator, is under the Ministry of Asals. It is not under
Honorable Cs, the question by Honorable Mugatana was, do you have different policies for different areas on matters compensation?
Thank you. I don't believe we have different policies because we are all mandated to go through the National Land Commission on matters payment of compensation, land compensation. There was the question by Honorable Onyonka on we have had issues in different projects whereby even the people, the PAPs have passed on. And this has been a legacy challenge that has been ongoing in government. In the ministry, in case there is the person to be compensated has passed on, their next of kin is considered by the National Land Commission for compensation. That is the status as it is. And there was a question on why do we have legacy compensation issues? And apparently, I found that ongoing in the ministry. But right now, going forward, when we do projects, especially by the government of Kenya, and also development partners, the development partners, as the situation is, focuses on developing the infrastructure. So we don't mostly get funding for PAPs or land composition. However, the government of Kenya is responsible for payment of these composition charges that are required, especially when new projects are commencing. And now we are developing a criteria that going forward, we ensure that we sort out land issues to avoid further delays in the process, and this does not become a historical challenge. Thank you, Speaker. I submit.
We now move to question number 9. The Honorable Senator for Makueni County, you may proceed to ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, could the Cabinet Secretary provide an update on the status of the construction of Thwake Dam in Makueni County and explain why the construction works have stalled? And B, what measures has the government put in place to ensure the timely completion of the dam? And could the Cabinet Secretary give the timeline? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may proceed.
Honorable Speaker, thank you. The questions by Honorable Manzo. Honorable Speaker, the first question was, could the Cabinet Secretary provide an update on the status of the construction of Thwake Dam in Makueni County and explain why construction works have stalled? Honorable Speaker, the construction of the 80.5 meter high Thwake multipurpose dam with a capacity of 688 million meter cubic storage capacity is ongoing, with civil works on dam construction at 94.2% completion level. The project has not stalled, but has had reduced rates of works. The stage at which the dam is does not require the use of a lot of heavy machinery and equipment. The embankment dam filling, which is the key component of the dam, is recorded at 99%, achieving the required levels of elevation of 916 meters above sea level, being the last layer placed on 18th of June 2024. The spillway physical progress stands at around 94%. The upstream and downstream coffer dams have been completed and are actually operational, and the 2 diversion tunnels of 12-meter diameter and approximately 740 meter long each are also completed and working. This being a rock-fill dam structure, a period of 6 to 9 months was required from the last placement of the final layer on 18th June 2024 to allow the dam embankment to settle and stabilize before the concrete face slab works are carried out as recommended by the World Dam Safety Panel of Experts, which was achieved at the end of January 2025. The remaining works are on the concrete face slab placement, that is the plaster, the spillway bridge, and the hydromechanical equipment installation. Honorable Speaker, the construction period was expected to end on 7th of December 2024, and the anticipated completion date of the dam could not be realized because of the following reasons. 1, there were delays in work progress because of an increase in the dam height from 77.5 meters to 80.5 meters to increase storage capacity. 2, there were weak foundations at the dam at the riverbed, which was discovered during construction, necessitating excessive excavation and special treatment that took quite a while. And number 3, the global pandemic and the war at Ukraine that resulted in scaling down of labor force due to lack of explosives. And when I talk of explosives, Honorable Speaker, I'm talking about ammonium nitrates in the country during the period in the year 2020 to the year 2023. The country imports these explosives, some iron and steel products from Ukraine. During this period, the available explosives were between 150 to 200 tons per month against a demand of 600 to 700 tons per month. In addition, during the pandemic, ammonia nitrates used to produce explosives were directed to the production of oxygen to support the fight against the pandemic. And we have letters written to the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Petroleum and Mining to intervene and support the contractor to acquire these key supplies that were required at foundation level. Honorable Speaker, adequate time required to allow the dam embankment to settle before the concrete face slab, which is the remaining component, is done, has greatly reduced the rate of works. And this is because hauling of material from the quarry sites to the dam embankment has been completed. At the peak, just to give a perspective of the construction, the contractor had deployed around 77 trucks, 21 rigs, and 31 excavators, which made the site very active and very busy. The part 2 of the question, Honorable Speaker, was what has the government put in place? What measures has the government put in place to ensure the timely completion of the dam, and could the Cabinet Secretary give the timelines? Honorable Speaker, the remaining dam construction works are on the concrete face slab placement, the spillway bridge, and the hydromechanical equipment installation. These works were due to commence once the dam embankment settlement rate, and the rate is 5 millimeters per month and below, is achieved as advised and adopted by the panel of experts. The ministry is undertaking the following measures to ensure timely completion of the project. 1, the ministry and the dam supervision consultant, in consultation with the World Dam Safety Panel of Experts, has been monitoring the settlement level of embankment for a period of 9 months from July 2024 until the attainment of the recommended rate. And 2, as at 30th January 2025, all settlement recordings for the critical sections of the dam embankment had reduced to below the recommended 5 millimeter per month threshold and stabilized, ready to commence face slab construction. The ministry wrote to the contractor via the letter indicated on February 20th, 2025 to immediately commence the execution of the remaining works, which is on the concrete face slab placement. The government, through the National Treasury, has written to the African Development Bank to avail adequate resources for the completion of the dam. The bank has commenced a routine contract appraisal to determine resources required for the completion of the dam, and the bank approval is expected in April 2025, and this will be effective by May 2025. In this regard, the project will be completed and as planned, and the first impoundment is expected to happen by the short trains in December 2025. The contractor is under clear instructions to ensure remaining dam construction works are